bear with me while I get my camera set up. YouTube changed the way they do the live. It's a little different now, so it took a few minutes to figure this out. Let's see if I can go over this way. Oh, and there's cats in here and a dog, and they won't leave me alone. So, see if we can get them out of here. Big boy, go down. Okay. Hello. We are live. I am just getting finished setting up here. And what we're going to be doing today is a really cool sunset of the ocean for the Starry Night Inn, which is a boutique art hotel at the Oregon coast. I show my art there. They've requested that I do more. So I need to do 12 more paintings. One medium and 10 smalls and one large. So today I thought I would show you how I do one of my paintings, medium size. And if you want to follow along, that's awesome. And if not, you just want to sit back and watch me paint, then cool. So let's go ahead and get started. When we do a painting, we want to make sure, again, we do the farthest things first and then work our way forward. So we're going to be painting the sky and then the sun and the water and some land and maybe some waves down here and finish up down here with the sand. So we're going to get started in the sky. So to do that, I like to make my skies really wild and colorful and full of stars and things like that. So I'm going to start with sort of a galaxy sky and some clouds that goes into the sunset. I'm going to take this makeup brush. This is a blush brush. It's one of my favorites. I just reused it from just my makeup brush got old and I couldn't use it anymore on my face. So I decided to repurpose it for painting. So I'm going to take this bad boy here. I'm actually going to use a smaller end, I think. And I'm going to start with sort of darker colors in this area and work my way down a little. So I'm going to start with some blue. I've got phthalo blue. I'll add a touch of white to brighten it up a little bit because it is quite dark. And I'm just going to sort of loosely paint in some areas where I want this color. I'm going to be blending in some other colors too. So I'm not worried about how this looks right now. I just want to get the color on. Do a little darker up here. Maybe a little darker in here, down here, here. And I'm doing it kind of quickly. This is acrylic. It dries fast, but I'm a fast painter, so it should not be a problem. And then I'm going to go into some purple. Add white to make it brighter because you can't see it. And again, just sort of scribbling in where I want the color to go. Make it a little darker in some areas. Working really fast. I'm going to flip my brush over, use the big side, and I'm just going to do circular motions and blend this all together. I didn't add any water to my brush yet. I didn't add any water to my acrylics. I want them to stay kind of thick, more like an oil, which is fine as long as you work quickly. They will blend, but they dry within just a couple minutes. So already you see over here it's kind of dried out a little. That's okay. We managed to get most of the color on and blend it out before it dried. So this is the first layer of my sky. I'm going to have a few layers here. Now that I have most of that blue down, I'm going to look at it and say, okay, where do I want more purple or lighter blue? So I'm going to go ahead and wipe off my brush. Get it nice and clean. And let's add a little bit of bright purple. I want just a drop of teal, I think would be nice. I bought a pre-made teal from Golden and I love it. Saves me time of mixing, which is great. And it has a really nice saturated color to it. Little bit on my brush. I'm going to just dot in here, maybe over here a little, maybe around here, just a little, and then flip my brush over, blend it out. Just like that. Okay, maybe just a little more in some areas. Like right there, I really want to push it right there. You know, maybe I'll push it a little down in here. And and blend it out. Okay, now I'm going to wipe off my brush again and clean it. Scrubbing the bristles all the way at the bottom of the cup, wiping it until most of the color comes off. And I think I want a little bit more purple, and then I'm going to blend the purple into some pink. So I want to add some more purple and then some more pink. Next. And then I could do the stars after that, because I always like to do sunset or night paintings, and I like to add a lot of stars or galaxies in it. It's one of the things I like to do. This is a very messy process, by the way, using this brush. No easy, clean way of cleaning it. So, yep, nice and covered here. So I'm gonna go into purple. I want a warmer purple color. So let's see if I can add a little red. See what happens. Maybe a little pink. I'm just going to put a little bit of purple, pinkish purple there. Maybe some more pure purple with white. There we go. I like that. A little bit more. Maybe up here. Maybe more down here. I'm going to flip over my brush because it already is drying. I can feel it kind of dry when I apply it. And I'm going to blend that out. Just like this. And I'm being pretty light with it, kind of feathering it just a little. Okay, so that's a pretty first layer of my background. So now let's add some stars. So we're going to do the splatter method. First, I need to make sure my brush is clean and set aside because I'm not going to use it, and I don't want the bristles to get all dry and crunchy, and it'll just ruin the brush. So, clean it off. Flip it over. Clean it off. Not perfect, but better than nothing. Okay, so to make stars, you can do whatever color you want. You need 2 brushes and some water and some white. But I don't know if I want white stars. I might want yellow. So I'm going to add some yellow into my white and mix that up. It's a pale yellow color. And then I'm going to add a good amount of water so that it becomes very liquidy. Can you see that? Nice and liquidy. Okay. And then I'm going to take the other brush in my left hand, my non-dominant hand. I'm going to hold it still while I tap with my right hand, my dominant hand, with the brush just loaded in the paint. And we're going to create stars in just a few seconds by going like this. And just like that, we have a galaxy background. Super easy. Only took a few seconds to do. So next I'm going to add in some clouds, some pink and orange, maybe a little yellow, fluffy clouds, and the sunset. Clean off my brushes first and set them aside because we don't want to ruin them. So now I'm going to take this really cool makeup brush again. I'm going to use the small side and load it up with yellow and orange and all those fun warm colors. And I'm going to do a similar technique, but I'm going to make more of a cloud shape this time. So I'm going to start with some yellow. You want to make sure that your canvas is mostly dry as well, because the colors will mix into like a green color. I don't necessarily want that. Not that it would look terrible, but it's dry over here, kind of tacky over there. So we're going to start over here. I'm going to make a nice warm pink color. Okay, and I'm just going to do some circular motions for my clouds. Just kind of fluff it up here a little bit. And then I'm going to flip my brush over and blend those. Just a little. And I'm going to do this a few times so I can build up the color and the saturation. So this is just the first layer. I'm not too worried about it at all. Okay, We're going to do it again. I'm going to get some pink. And again, circular motions, super light. Make little fluffy cloud shapes. Just sort of wherever you want. And then flip over your brush and quickly brush those up with the fat end really quickly, very lightly. Just a feather touch. Okay, so that's the first layer of clouds. I'm going to keep doing this again until I get the clouds that I like. Okay, I need to clean off my brush too again. Okay, so I'm going to go back into maybe that orangey color and a little bit of pink to soften it because it's very bright. That cat orange is very, very bright. Do it again over here. Little circular motions, and then I'm going to fluff it up again. Okay, so it's starting to come together. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go into that orange, a little bit of pink. Do it over here on the right side. Circular motions, just plop it in a few clouds, nice fluffy little clouds. Maybe they go up a little here, fade up into the night sky. You know, kind of make them random, right? There's no rhyme or reason to them. And then fluff them up. I'm gonna add some more pure pink now. Add pure pink over here. I think that would be nice. Still leaving a little bit of darkness. I still want some of that darkness in there. Give it some dimension. We don't want it to be too bright or saturated in color. Right? We need some shadow so we can see that light. And then I'm gonna go on the right side and do it over here. A few really, really, really bright ones. There we go, right there. Maybe right in here. Just having fun. We're just having fun. And fluff those up. If you are familiar with my work, you know that I don't really like to paint realism. I like to have fun with really bright, saturated color palettes. And I sort of merge realism with fantasy, I guess you could say. Okay, so that's fun, right? So I think I should add some more orange and yellow into this now. So I need to clean off my brush, and I actually also need to get some more paper towels because I've already kind of used this one up. So I'm gonna grab a few more towels here. Make sure that I clean off my brush really well, dipping it all the way into the bottom of the glass and scrubbing those bristles and then wiping it on my napkin. Okay, I'm gonna get another towel. Bear with me one moment. Okay, so I'm back and I've got some more paper towels here. I'm going to use more than I thought. All right, dry off my brush and my filthy hands. I think I'm going to fluff in a little bit of orange and yellow clouds actually to make it even brighter. I feel like it's still kind of dark, so let's do that. Let's add some yellow and orange together. There we go. Really get that color a little brighter in here. soften it up. And let's do that again. Maybe over here. I might use a palette knife in this painting as well. I really like using palette knives. I think they give a great texture to any painting. And the way that they can apply color onto a canvas is very cool. I like the way that it looks, so I might actually use that. Really making it brighter. My sun's going to be right in here, so I want it really bright, so I'm going to start adding some more yellow. Just like that. And let's go ahead and get that palette knife out. Make sure we clean our brush off. Let's get the palette knife out and show you how to do that really quick. It's a lot of fun. All right, so I've got a few in here. This one will work. So you kind of want the one that's not a scraper. This is a scraper I used for mountains and things. It's nice and flat. See the difference? This one's flat all the way down and this one isn't. It's curved, more like a spatula. This is the one you're probably going to want to use for this next step. So I'm going to take some yellow, maybe a little orange. And I'm going to streak in some paint because I think it looks really pretty. So let's do that. Just going to streak it in right across. Look at that. Gives a great color and texture to your painting. More yellow, I think. Right in here, just really make it bright. That's where I'm putting my sun. Okay, and my sun's not going to be yellow. It's actually going to be white, and that's going to give the appearance of it glowing and being really bright. So it's going to go right in there somewhere. So we can bring this up a little. Being very gentle. I'm just smoothing out that color there. Okay, so my horizon line is actually going to end probably here. There we go. Now you can see it better. Okay, so I need to find my horizon line. I'm going to put in my horizon line with probably just blue to get it in place. I need a nice flat brush for that, or a small round, or even a fan brush would work. We can just use the fan brush. That's fine. I'm going to use it anyways for when we do the water. So I'm going to take my fan brush, get it wet, and go straight into the phthalo blue, a nice dark blue. And then I need to draw my horizon line. But I want to make sure my horizon line isn't crooked, which sometimes it is. So I'm going to take a nice measuring tape and just sort of dot out where I want it to go. So we can try like 6.5. 6.5 inches down, just so I don't get too crooked. And I can always raise it a little if I want. Okay, I just need to know where that horizon line is because we're going to do water in a minute here. So I'm going to put in my horizon line, or my ocean water line, basically is what it is. And I'm just taking my fan brush and gently swiping left to right, using the thin side of my fan brush to drop that in. Okay, I'm just figuring out the placement. I'm going to put some land over here, so I'm not too worried about the clouds and things and the water over there. And then let's do it again. I'm going to just start bringing that down a little. Left to right, just swiping. loosely swiping like that. Now before we put the sun in, this has to dry. I'll show you how to do an easy trick for the sun to make a perfect circle, but it's got to dry first. I'm going to get a little water on my brush now because my brush is getting dry, and go back in with the blue and just swiping in some more of that blue color. There's going to be a lot of reflection here, so some more yellow in the water, and that's fine. We're going to try to reflect some of the sky into the water, just a little bit. So for example, it's darker over here, so this is going to be more of a pure phthalo blue right here. It's going to brighten up here, maybe stay kind of bright in this area. So I can actually add a little bit of purple if I want, or pink, any color really, just to lighten it up so there's a little bit of a difference right in here. And I'm just swiping back and forth using crisscross motions as well, so very shallow X's, right? So not like that. You don't want that. You want shallow. You see that? Creates the illusion of water. Okay, so I'm being very gentle, keeping my wrist kind of loose, and I'm just going to drop in the water. I'm going to add waves and stuff to this later, but I just need that base color down. That's all I really care about right now. So adding in this base color of the water, and then we could do reflections and waves and stuff later. So crisscross, using my fan brush. Super easy, takes a few seconds. Just like that, we have some water. Okay, that was easy. Clean your brush. We can probably go ahead and add the little bit of lamb that's over here. And I'm just going to use pure dark purple for that. And I think I'll actually use my scraper palette knife as well. So I need more purple though. So I'm going to scrape off a good amount of dark purple onto my palette knife and just drop in the shape of a piece of land on the left-hand side. See, just kind of loaded it up there. I think I wanted to sort of, I don't know, go here, up, maybe down, maybe back up, maybe dip a little bit more. And then just scrape it in with some more paint to fill it in, just like this. And then we need to figure out how far down in the water it's going to be, right? Is it going to be closer to us? So it would be dropped lower. If it's going to stay far away, it needs to be close to that horizon line, but not really on top of it. So I'm going to drop it a little bit, maybe something like that. So it's like 1/4 of an inch into the ocean. That's fine. That tells me that it's still kind of far away. Okay, and it's fine that we can see through it right now. I don't care about that. We can fill that in later. Right now it's about placement. We're just placing it, right? Placement, shape, size. There. So it's kind of in the distance. It's not too far away. You might be able to swim to it, you know. I'm going to clean off my palette knife now. Let's add some trees to it. Let's add some tiny trees. I'm going to use my fan brush again. This is a 1-inch fan brush, and I'm going to go into the dark purple. I'm going to load up my fan brush, and then I'm just going to very gently place in a few trees using the tip right here and pressing in just like this. I'm not really going to bother too much with rotating it and creating individual branches. This land is far enough away that you probably can't see individual branches, so I'm just going to be dabbing in like this to make almost like little pyramids, okay? So I'll hold this up so you can see a little bit better. I'm just going to tap, right? Just a few in. Like that. You see how those kind of look like trees? Kind of in the distance? That's what I'm going to do now. Okay, not too many. There's some trees, but it's not like it's a huge forest back in here on this rock, right? We could add a bigger one if we want. But we're just going to make some tiny ones. Just a few. Maybe there's one more here. Okay. Get some more paint on there. Touch him up a little. Maybe there's a little guy right here. That's it. Super easy. Okay. Now we can add some highlight to the rock and some shadow if we want. That's pretty easy to do. I'm just going to take that purple that I use and lighten it a little bit. That way it gives our rock some dimension. So I'm going to take my flat scraper palette knife again, and I'm going to be scraping a tiny roll of paint on the edge here with a lighter purple color. So I'm going to take white and my purple, and I'm going to go ahead and mix that up. We don't want it too bright though. Okay, clean off my palette knife. You see how I dragged out the paint there? You can kind of see it in the upper right corner. You're going to cut across with your palette knife so you get a little roll, okay? Just like that. And we're going to very gently graze the painting with almost no weight whatsoever. We're just going to let it touch, barely touch with the weight of the own palette knife here. We're not going to be pushing down, and we're going to drag it across, and that's going to give us some texture and a little bit of shadows, a little bit of highlights. I kind of like leaving that yellow in here. I think it looks really pretty, and it's sort of a highlight for me. So I'm going to leave that in there. But I'm going to drop some of this purple in though. Just like that. Just to break it up, right? Because if you don't have highlights and shadows, it looks flat. So we just want to break up that color a little bit. So that was easy, right? We're pretty much done there. I think I want to add a little bit of haze. I think that would look really pretty. So we need to make sure that our painting's kind of dry in order to do that though. And we're going to be using the little makeup brush again. And I want to make sure my makeup brush is clean and dry on both sides. I'll probably use the small side for that though. So I want to add a little bit of haze, maybe a little bit of soft yellow haze in here. So I'm going to take a little bit of yellow. See how this works. It's still very wet, so we'll see if this works while it's still kind of wet. Normally I would do it when it's more dry. Just a little, just a little. Maybe I'll dab some of that off. Really just a little, okay? And I'm just going to dab in a little yellow all the way across, very, very lightly. Flip it over and push up just slightly so that it blends a little. Okay, and I'll do it again. Clean off your brush. It is still wet. Normally I would recommend doing this when it's dry, but I don't want to be live streaming forever. I'm sure you get bored if I don't talk or show you what I'm doing, so I don't want to just stand here and do nothing. Let's dry it off. Get more yellow, just a little. Dab it off because you don't need a lot. You can do whatever color you want for your haze. Normally I do white or purple, but my thought was that since it's sunset, maybe there's a lot of light reflecting everywhere, bouncing around, you know. So I thought yellow would be cool. Oh, yeah, see, it's still very wet. That's okay. That's okay. We can let that dry a little bit more, but it's fine. Okay, we could probably do the sun. I'll show you an easy trick for the sun. The sun's going to be white so that it looks like it's glowing. And I'm looking for a cap to use, a little cheat here. Just take a cap of any size that you want your sun to be. And we're going to paint the edge and press it down. That's going to give us a perfect circle that we can use as our template for our sun. It only takes a few seconds. I'm going to get some white paint and I'm going to brush the edge just a little. You don't have to get a lot. Okay, and then I'm going to place that down where I want my sun. So I think I want the sun really close to the water. Right there, I'm going to push just a little. There, we have a nice little tiny circle that we can fill in with white. I'm going to clean off my brush here. Get some white. And I'm just going to color it in white. Purple in there. Okay, well, I got a little purple on my brush, so that sucks. It happens though. You have to make sure that your palette stays kind of clean. It can easily get contaminated. Mine got contaminated. That's okay. It happens. Not a big deal. I just have to wait for it to dry again. Once it's dry again, I can go over it one more time with white. I'm going to rotate this really quick. Don't be afraid to rotate your canvas. It's not a problem. Okay, so it kind of looks like a sun. You just got to let it dry a little bit more. Okay, so the sky's done. The sun's almost done. The rock's basically done, except for that glowing haze that wasn't quite dry, so we need to do that again. We need to do that again. Brighten it up a little. So I'm just going to dab in some of that light yellow color, and then I'm going to fluff it up. And don't worry, we're painting other things in front of this. We just want it to give the illusion that there's like a haze going on here. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect at all. Okay, because there's another rock going over there. We still have to do the water. There we go. There. There, that looks a little bit better. So now we can start working on the water, I think, which is fun. I like that. It's easy. We're going to use a fan brush and we're going to swipe in some color. I'm going to swipe in a little bit of highlight here for the sunset. I'm going to go right into that yellow, little white. And I'm just going to swipe in just a little. As you come down, it does get wider, okay? Don't worry, we still need to put other things in here, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, let's swipe in what? Maybe some pink, maybe a little pink, yellowy pink. See what happens there. Let's just have fun, right? It's our painting. We can do whatever we want. We don't like it, we can paint over it. That's okay. But why not have a fun ocean that has lots of color in it? So again, I'm just using my fan brush on the thin part, swiping left to right, but doing slightly shallow crisscross motions. Don't worry, we're going to go back in with some blue too. It's not just going to be a pink ocean. We just want some of this color in here. Just a little color here. Let's go in with some blue now. Go back in with some phthalo blue. I'm going to use pure phthalo blue and add a little bit of darkness back in here. I'm out of paint, so I need more. I'm gonna wet my brush, it's getting a little dry. I wish I could play music for you guys, but you know, copyright and all that. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of the ocean line over here now. I'm going to add more darkness to the right area. It's farther away from the sun. I like to have a lot of fun with my water. Sometimes I'll put stars in it. It reflects the stars in the sky, or galaxies in it, or whatever you want, you know. I don't want realism. I want magic. Okay, so that's the second layer of our water. Now we can start having some fun with some waves. So I'm gonna add some white to my brush. I'm gonna clean off a little, get some of that color off. I'm gonna add some waves. Okay, I'm gonna make some little bumps in my water. Very, very, very pale blue, not pure white. Okay, and I'm just gonna pretend like this brush is creating the waves. So I'm gonna be swiping up and down. Okay, just like that. Little waves here and there, maybe some more over here. Maybe there's a bigger one. Let's put a really nice big one in here. Let's have a star wave, right? Star of the painting. Where would he go? Over here? Just add some waves, some water. It goes up, up, and then down. Just like that. We can have him crashing here. right there. That's fun. Just dragging my brush wherever I want the wave. Maybe he's got a little bit of a splash here, just a little. Okay, I'm gonna add some pure white to the top. Just like that. Okay, then we need to darken this area because that's underneath. So I'm going to take my smaller round brush and get some more phthalo blue and just darken that area up just a little bit more. So we've created a nice little wave. I'm going to add a little bit of darkness around the other ones as well. Like that. Okay, let's add some more reflection of that sunset into the water, just a little bit. I think I'm going to use that slightly smaller brush. Let's add some more, I don't know, maybe some pink. But we need to mellow out the pink, so let's add some white into that pink. I'm just going to swipe in a little bit of pink here and there. Just like this. Make it a little brighter, you know? Maybe I'll drop it down a little bit more. Let's do that. Let's drop it down. I think this will be the sand, but the sand's going to be reflecting some of the sunlight too. So let's add some pink into there. We're going to need it anyways. Just scrubbing in that pink. Doesn't have to look perfect because again we're going to be layering it, so it doesn't matter at all. We still got a little bit of work to do here. Okay, now let's add a little bit of pale yellow. Maybe right in here. Just swiping back and forth just to brighten it up. Just brighten it up. Maybe we'll start fading out into that orange again, just a little. Don't worry, I'm not done with the ocean, I'm not done with the water, but I'm just trying to get that first layer down, figuring things out. It's all about placement. Just scrubbing in that color. A little bit of orange. And then let's have it fade out to purple. Let's put a little bit more pink down first. A little bit more pink in here. Again, just scrubbing in the color. Okay. I'm going to clean off my brush because I don't want orange and purple to mix. That will turn brown. So clean off the orange, go back into that purple, add a little white to the purple to make it brighter, just a little, so that we know it's purple and not black. I'm going to lightly scrub that in now. Gonna do the same on the other side. Okay, that's just the first layer. We have to build up our layers. We can't just put the paint down and be done with it, right? If you want it to have some dimension, you need to add darks and lights and all kinds of things. So, some room over here. Okay, why don't we add in one more rock or two? I wanted to add another one over here to give it some more dimension, right? So I'm going to go in with pure purple again, which I've been using a lot of, so a little more. And we're going to add in another rock, maybe a couple. Maybe a couple, we'll see. I wanted a closer rock, a bigger rock. I'm just using a 1/2 inch brush at this point. You don't have to use the palette knife, although I do like that palette knife. I'm just going to add in some fun rocks. Okay, don't worry, I have to go back over with some highlights and stuff too. And I want to make sure that it goes up into this other rock, right? So that it communicates with it, is what I like to call it. Communicates with it. So that it has interaction with it. If you separate things in your painting too much, it looks like it's separated and it's not harmonious, right? So I always try to make things connect a little. So another way to achieve that technique that we did with the palette knife and the light purple is to use a flat brush, but you're just going to load it up with a little bit of paint right along the tip here. And you're very gently going to be grazing the surface of your canvas. So if you don't have a palette knife, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so I'll do that right now. So I've got a little bit of paint there. I'm just going to gently graze. I'm just going to graze a little. See how that puts texture into your painting? Just a little, and that's really all that you need. All right, I know that might be hard to see because it's kind of gray here today, so I'll turn on my studio light. Is that a little better? Maybe. It was too bright. Okay, let's try that. Okay. I want to touch up that area really quick. I got too much mist going on over there. I need to add some more yellow just to separate what that is because it's confusing to the eye. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to my 1/2 inch flat, pure yellow. And I'm just going to touch this area up so that you know this is actually still the sky. See, that makes more sense. Now you can kind of read it better with your eyes. We do need to add a little bit of a water line against the rock. So I'm going to take my my small round brush and add a little bit of pure white and just gently graze in a little white, pure white, at the base of the rock. I don't have pure white, it's all contaminated. That happens, doesn't it? Get some more pure white. I don't know about you, but I try to be an organized, clean artist, and it doesn't always happen. I get very messy. So I'm going to take my little tiny round brush, and I'm trying to get a point on it. So I'm getting it wet, and as I wipe it across the napkin, I'm pulling and rotating it, and that creates a nice sharp edge. So I'm pulling and rotating, twisting it, and now I have a nice sharp edge. I'm going to put a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of paint on my brush there. Can you see that? And then I'm very, very gently going to be brushing in a little bit of water, a little bit of white water back here so that you know this is where the land meets the ocean, right? These are all just little tricks so that it reads better, so that you understand what you're looking at. Just like that. So it's farther away. That makes more sense now, right? Don't worry about this. We're going to fix this later. I just want to get that baby. And we still have a little bit of work to do here. But while I have white, I'm going to touch up the sun. Remember, I got contaminated purple in my sun. So I need to add more pure white to it now that it's dry. The great thing about acrylics is that they dry really fast. So you can fix things really, really easily, pretty quickly. Oils are great for other reasons, but I like acrylics now. I used to like the oil. But the animals get into oil, so that's not good. Can't use it. Angie agrees. Okay, so the sun is now white, which is great. So it kind of looks more like a sun now. Nice and bright. And I'm going to let the dog out so she doesn't explode. Oh my goodness. Squirrel. Okay, so I feel like I'm about halfway done with this painting. Definitely the top half is done. Still have a little bit of work to do down at the bottom. Luckily, I'm still a pretty fast painter, so I can probably finish this soon. I've already been doing this for 1 hour. Oh, I'm going a little slower today. Usually I'm done in an hour. That's okay. We're having fun. I need to move this water line a little bit, I think. Add in another wave. Placement. Let's figure out placement of things. I'm going to sketch in a little bit of water, right? A very shallow, thin wave that's pulling back away from the sand, pulling back into the ocean, right? I'm going to sketch that in really quick. Just going to drop it in like that. Something like that. Okay? Figuring out the placement. Do I want another wave in there? Meh. I don't know. I feel like that one's okay. We could add a little something here. You can always paint over it if we don't like it, right? So let's add a little something here. A little something's going on. It meets up there. Something like this, right? Just placement, trying to figure out those waves, trying to figure everything out. Because I didn't have a plan for this, not really. Let's use a little brush and add some white around this rock here so that we know, again, it's land meaning water. Just a few simple strokes here. Okay. Now we need to start working on our water again. How do you feel about the water? I think it's too blue. It's too dark. I think I want to lighten it a little bit. I think I want to take my fan brush and bring in some other colors or some lighter colors, or maybe add a little teal and a little white into the phthalo. Make it a little brighter, right? It's just too dark for me. And, you know, I struggle with that. My paintings tend to be kind of dark a lot. Don't know why. It's just how I paint. But I want to brighten this up. So again, using my 1-inch fan brush, I'm going to gently stroke in shallow crisscrosses here over a lot of this blue to brighten it up, because it's just too dark for me. Okay. Very gentle, gentle crisscrossing. I can go back and add more waves in, but I feel like it's just too dark, so we're brightening it up. It can stay dark over here. That's fine. We're going to lighten this up. Might even lighten it one more time. Let's add some more white and see what happens. Don't know until you try it, right? So let's try it. There we go. It's stormy here today. It's very stormy here in my area. Windy. Rainy. They say we're going to get thunder and lightning, but I don't know. They say that a lot and it doesn't happen. I love thunder and lightning. I'm going to bring some of that blue into the middle now too. Might add some more land over there. That could be good. We'll see. We'll see how this works. Who knows? You know, that's something about painting that I love, is that it takes on its own life form, right? I don't have a plan for it. It creates its own life in a way. Just sort of let my hands do whatever, and it manifests its own way, and it's pretty cool. So, let's see here. I'm going to add some swooshing motion to make this look like it's a wave. Like that. I'm going to go back in and touch that up, but I just wanted a very little bit of light blue in there. Just some more light blue in here. Then I'm going to start curving my brush a little. I need to add some darkness under here for sure, because the water is touching, the crash is folding over and touching right there. You need to add visual weight to things when they touch, so it needs to be darker, and that's how you do it. So I'm going to take my little brush with the pure phthalo blue. And I'm going to add a little bit of darkness under here. Don't worry, I can fade some of it out. But it needs to have some darkness or it doesn't make sense. These are all just tricks you learn through painting, right? A little darkness right there. Probably add a little bit of darkness in here. Add a little underneath the white foam. I'm just scrubbing in some darkness, that's all I'm doing. Okay. Go on the other side and do it again. Scrub in a little bit of darkness. Don't worry, I'm going to touch up with some more white too. I'm going to clean off my little brush. Don't want to leave paint on your brush, because that's just an invitation to ruin your brushes. Okay, I'm going to take this little round guy, add pure white, and fluff up some of that water. Nice and clean brush. A little bit of white, like that. I'm going to give it a twirl to make a nice sharp point. I'm going to fluff up the water a little bit. So I'm going to scrub in some circles. Just a little. See, just scrubbing a little bit of circles. It really helps. Being kind of gentle. I'm going to fluff it up here too, because this is where it's touching the water, right? It's where the curve of the crash is touching right here. Let's go fluff this up. Lots of pure white. There we go. Starting to look like a wave, right? Yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's pretty good. Let's continue to fluff up on the right side a little. Right, just a little circular motions, being very gentle. Using pure white. My brush has a little water on it, which is not ideal. I like to use thick paint, shows up better, but also if your brush is too liquidy, then the colors underneath show through. So I like to keep my brush pretty dry. Okay, so now we got to keep working down here, but here's our wave. Gonna make sure my brush is clean. Make sure you clean your brushes. I've had a lot of these brushes for 15 to 20 years, 25 years. Granted, they're getting very worn out here, but okay, let's work on another wave, or the water. So this is going to be that final sort of wave that's touching the sand that's being pulled back in. So I need to add in a little bit more blue and then some white. So I'm going to be using, you can use a fan brush, or you could just keep using this brush that we use, which is fine. I'm going to go back in with some blue. Maybe a little purple. How about we do a little purple? I'm going to do that and see how it looks right in here, since this is the darkest area anyway. And we're going to be brushing down the color in the direction the water is going. So if the water is being pulled back this way, that's the direction of our brush stroke. So we're no longer going straight across like we were doing back here far off in the distance. We're now working closer. So now we have to change the direction of our brush strokes. Okay, so pulling it forward. And I'm using a little bit of paint and just scratching it over the surface because I want some of that underpainting to show through. I like some of this color here. So I'm being very gentle and just adding a little bit of blue. And dragging it across like this. It doesn't have to look perfect, again, because we're adding in layers, right? So we're going to add a little bit of white over this, and it's going to look a lot better once we do that. So don't worry about that, okay? I think I'm going to add in a little bit more, maybe of a peachy color here. Same process. Clean off your brush though, because if you mix the peachy color, the warm color, with the cool color of the blue, you're going to get another brown color or green color. It's not what you're going to want. So pink, touch of yellow. We'll see how this looks. I'm going to drag that in just a little. Okay, so I'm just dragging. Very gentle. You can even add a little bit more yellow in here. I think that would look good. Right? Because of the sun. So we do need to add some more highlights in here at some point. Probably add them in right now, that's fine. Should be okay. Let's add some yellow and a little bit of white to make it less translucent. So white and yellow. I'm going to wipe off some of that because I don't want a lot. I just want a little bit on my brush. I'm going to brush that in now. And being very gentle with it. It's okay that your colors show through. It's okay that you can see, some of that initial first layer that we did. That's fine. It's more interesting when your color breaks up a little bit and you see those different colors, and it gives it some texture to your painting. You don't want to just plop down color evenly and, you know, smoothly. I think it reads better when you break it up a little. I'm going to add a little in here too, because we lost some of it from changing the blue color. So remember, it's farther away, so I'm doing more of the left to right, horizontal, shallow crisscrosses, right? Being very gentle. Okay. Probably scrub some of this off in the sand. I think that's fine. Really want it to glow. So I'm just going to scrub off the extra here. Work on my sand again. So I'm going to add a little orange in there too. Why not? Why not work on the sand? I'm just scrubbing in that orange. Bring this over. I am not aligned. I need to go back in with some yellow. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna clean off my brush. Let's streak in a little bit more soft purple. Right in here. So again, this is the water line. This is the last wave that touches the sand, and this is the sand. The sand is wet here, so it has reflection. Okay, and I'm just going to gently brush in a few horizontal strokes of purple. Similar to how we did the water, shallow crisscrosses. Okay. Just be very gentle. I need more water on my brush. If your brush is not spreading the paint well, make sure you add a little bit of water. Okay, so just as we streaked in some purple, let's go ahead and streak back in a little bit of pink, maybe a little bit of orange, and continue to work on the sand and then go back into that water really quick. So peach color or pink color, let's do pink. Very gently. See how I'm doing it? Very gently. Going into the purple, into the orange. See, very gently. Not a lot of pressure. Let's do it over here. Going into both the purple and the orange. And then we'll switch colors and go into the orange, and the orange will touch the pink and then the yellow. And this is how we kind of blend it. Like that. Now clean your brush. Go into that orange. Do it again. orange, but again, I'm using that cad orange. It's very, very vibrant, so I need to dull it down with a little bit of pink. Just a little bit. It's super bright. We don't want it to be too harsh, you know? There you go. And I can bring that into the yellow a little bit more because I'm going to do this again with the yellow, so it's okay. It's okay to bring that in. We're going to brighten it up again with the yellow. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush again. Go back into the yellow. Maybe add a touch of orange to that yellow because again, it's really, really bright. Streak that in. Then pure yellow. Let's see if we can't streak in a little bit of sun. Okay, so let's go back into that water. We're almost done. So we need to work on the water. So we're going to use that tiny little liner brush or little round brush, and I'm going to get some white, maybe a touch of purple in that white just to dull it down just a little bit. We don't want it too pure. We want the sun to be pure and the waves, but not all the water. I think that would distract from the sun and the waves. So dull down your white a little bit with whatever color you'd like. I'm going to use purple, and I'm going to very gently do little kind of crisscrossing X's again into this water here. Okay, so we're adding some visual texture, being very loose about it, because you know how when the water pulls away from the sand, it's very foamy, right? It looks kind of veiny. That's sort of what we're doing here. So we want to make sure we have a little brush and it's at a point. So again, rotate and pull to create a point. Okay, and you want a little water in it this time too because you want it to be very easy to blend around. So let's go ahead and very gently do my little veins, my little crisscrossy veins in here. Very gentle. And as they go back farther into this wave, they can start sort of being dragged out a little. Like that. So they come down. I wish I had a smaller brush. I don't think I do. I don't normally paint with this brush either. It's just wound up in my brush box. So let's try this one. So this one's a little bit thinner. It might work. But keep doing this. It'll look good when we're done. Okay. Nice watery paint here. I try to make them a little bit bigger the closer to that edge that they get, right? And farther away, the smaller they get. Smaller, thinner. Had too much paint on that one. That's okay. That happens. That's okay. That looks fine. Be really gentle. It's easy to overdo it. If you overdo it, just clean off your brush really quick, dry it off, and try to blend it up or blend it in another direction. Okay. Fun fact, you can erase acrylics if you are quick about it. Most people don't know that. So let's say I put a line I didn't want, but the background, the underpainting, painting that we did a few minutes ago was dry. If you are quick about it, you can go ahead and just clean off your brush, get it nice and wet, and scrub off that first layer of paint. It does come right off. You can erase. So you can go ahead and try that out if you want. So I'm just going to be doing this throughout the rest of the painting here in this area. It's going to take a few minutes. You know, details always take a few minutes, but we're almost done. So again, little lines. Little lines. How do you feel about the ocean? Do you think it's too flat right there? I might go back in and add a few waves. Might. We'll see. Let's finish this up, finish the last waves. We'll go back and see how I feel about it. See how it's starting to come together. It's starting to look like a wave, an ocean. Okay, how do we feel? More? I might need a little more. We can go back in with slightly brighter. I'm just gonna add more white to it and see what that looks like. And just a few places to add even more detail. So almost pure white now. A little bit of paint on my brush. Let's do it again in just some areas. Just to see what it looks like, you know? Make it really pop. I like that. Let's do that a little bit. Just a little bit. Very gentle. It's easier to add more, it's harder to take away. This painting is going to be available to buy through the Starry Night Inn, which is a really cool art boutique in Seaside, Oregon. They are an awesome place to stay if you don't want to stay in a basic, boring chain and you want to stay somewhere where they encourage art and music. Very bohemian vibe there as well. It's very cool. So I do show my work there and sell it there. What do you think? More? Less? Slightly more on the left? I don't want to overdo it. You can easily overdo a painting. You know, you start getting in the swing of things and you're having a good time and you're like, yeah, I love this. And before you know it, you've overworked it. and that happens. Okay, so I should just stop there because it looks fine to me. So now we need to finish the wave. So we need to add those fluffy white parts at the very end where it touches and a little darkness under that. So because it's so small, I'm going to just continue to use this little brush and get some pure white paint on it. And I'm just going to scrub in some more fluffy white parts. So I'm being very gentle. I'm just using that little tiny liner brush. I'm just sort of using simple, short, tight, circular motions to create the very edge of my wave that's touching the actual sand and being pulled away from the beach. And then we need to add a little bit of highlight to it as well. I'm sorry, shadow. Shadow goes under it. Almost done. Right. So now we need to add some darkness underneath this white part. Remember what I said earlier about visual wave? We want it to touch. If they're touching, there's going to be darkness there. Okay, so I'm going to clean off my little brush. I'm going to go back in with that pure phthalo blue again. I haven't used any black in this painting at all. I think it's more fun and it looks better when you don't use black, you use other colors. So I'm going to go back in with phthalo blue. I'm going to get my brush nice and wet, add pure phthalo blue to my brush. And I'm going to do a little line underneath the white that I just put in. Right? We want them to touch. We want them to communicate. It really, really works well. Simple trick. A little bit more water. Mowing and blowing today out in the wind. Okay, don't know if you guys can hear that, but the landscapers are mowing and blowing. Okay, just a little bit of darkness there. I think I'm just about done, but I may add a few more distant waves off in the deeper part of the ocean. Just a few little, it should only take a few seconds. because it seems very flat back there, and I want my ocean to have a little bit of life. Okay, so let's do that. Let's add a few little waves and things back there. So I'm going to go back in with white and a little bit of blue, my little brush, and just sort of add a few waves. Oops. Got something on my brush. That happens. Right? A few simple strokes of lightness gives it the appearance that there's a wave. Okay, the farther away you go, the smaller and shorter they become, but the closer you are, the bigger, longer, and thicker it is. Easy little trick. I think the last thing we're going to do is add some sparkles in here into the reflection of the sun right in here. I think that'll look really pretty. That should only take a few seconds too. Okay, let's do that. Let's just take our palette knife, the scraper, add a little tiny bit of white and yellow mixture to it. This guy, we're going to use the short end here, and we're just going to cut across and scrape in a few bright lines of color. So I'm taking a little bit and I'm putting it right on the tip there, and I'm just going to dab that in. And cut across. So just dabbing, cutting across just a little, just some sparkles. That's all we're doing. Just adding some sparkles in there now. And with that, we are just about done. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. The couple of you that did. I know it's a long video and it's in the middle of the day, so that's okay. Thank you for taking your time and clicking on my little video here. But that's about it. That's our fun little rainbowy sunset painting. There we go. Took an hour and a half. That's not bad. That's not bad. All right, well, thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.